So Adam, that's today's selection. First up, as I say, is the BMW 1150 RT. What do you think of it looks-wise?
I like the colour.
Yeah.
Seat looks comfortable. And plenty of storage.
Loads of storage, yeah. I mean, it's a nice wind deflector here, adjustable wind deflector.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be pretty used to Tourers anyway.
Yeah.
So they're all gonna be pretty comfortable for you. Now this is only an 1150. You've got an 1100, so
just a slight increase.
Yeah, we'll see what you think to the power then. So Are you ready to go?
Certainly am.
Well, you get your helmet on then, and we need to know what it's gonna ride like.
Great.
So while we give Adam a chance to gather his thoughts on the BMW, let's go back to Paul and Steve and see what they think to the bike. Are you two still awake in there?
Have you got much experience of them?
I've ridden one, but I've not done huge amounts of miles on one.
I had one very recently, and I did do a lot of miles on it. I had a long way to go. And it was one of those things where you couldn't really enjoy the journey. I just had to get where I was going. And to be honest, it's one of the best bikes for that.
Yeah,
absolutely great.
I think really to appreciate it, he needs to do a lot of miles on it.
It's not the sort of bike you look at and you think, oh, I just want to ride it. You think, I've got a long way to go, I've got luggage, it's comfortable, heated grips, adjustable screen,
that's right,
plenty of luggage carrying capacity, and a smooth bike. It's got an adjustable seat as well, you know.
That's right, and the seat screen, all the business and all the protection, yeah. But I think he'll find it odd when he brakes and nothing happens. Yeah. When I say nothing happens, I mean it doesn't dip down because you've got this...
something happens. I know what you mean.
You've got this telly lever, you know, and...
yeah, they are in a quiet taste, BMWs, but
they are.
To be honest, I was quite shocked at how much you did enjoy riding that bike.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, let's say I think he'll enjoy it, without a doubt.
Well, BMW, here we come. Adam's a Honda owner at the moment, but is he going to be a BMW man? I quite like the range myself. A couple of little 650s in there, I wouldn't mind. So, Adam.
You have to work. You have to work on it.
Tell me then, what you think?
The comfort was nice.
Yeah.
Handling a bit through the gears was much better.
Right, so I mean, how's it handling? I mean, was it quick, a lot quicker than yours?
Slightly quicker, yeah. It's just that initial kick when you open the throttle from the side pots.
Yeah.
But after that, it was there.
It was there. Anything? So I mean, it's kind of a love-hate then. I mean, it's got the comfort.
Yeah, I think you have to be a BMW rider for it.
Right. Okay. And I mean, we know you are a bit of a Honda man.
I am a bit.
So how was the windshield then?
Very nice.
Yeah.
It took a lot of the deflection off. Raised it up for higher speeds and. There's nothing in front of you at all.
Yeah, okay. Well, don't give me too much away, but I'm getting a feel of what you think to that one. Last bike of the day is the Honda Blackbird. Honda started a top-speed war with the introduction of their Blackbird in 1996. With a top speed of over 180 miles per hour, it stole the crown from Kawasaki's ZZR 1100 and also brought with it improved levels of comfort and safety. The Blackbird was the first production bike to feature the linked braking system, which was greeted with mixed feelings by the public and the journalists alike, but did allow the average rider to brake in confidence. This is a bike that genuinely offers the ability to cover huge miles in plenty of comfort, and once you're there, you can unstrap your luggage and scratch to your heart's content. So, Cliff and Sue, your third and final chariot, the Honda Blackbird. What do you think to the looks of this?
Very nice. Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah. It's just a big, comfy, lot of miles kind of bike, isn't it?
Yeah, and that could be advantageous.
What do you think of that pillion seat?
It looks very comfortable.
Doesn't it?
Like the rear grab rail.
Right, well, there is only one way to find out. You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Helmet's on.
And let's see what you think. Cliff and Sue are testing this 1997 Blackbird priced at $3,999. The Blackbird may not be as sporty as the R1 or the ZX9R, but it is more than capable of giving surprising levels of handling, as well as the legendary performance for which it's renowned. This bike, on the whole, appeals to a completely different type of rider than the R1 and the ZX9R. This can be a bonus, as the Blackbird is less likely to have suffered abuse and will probably have a full service history. Once again, the condition of the bike will tell you a lot about how it's been treated, so be prepared to walk away from untidy examples. Handling and performance should be excellent for a bike this size, so if your test ride shows up any problems, then check tyres and bearings for wear. If these don't provide any answers, then walk away and look for a better example. There are plenty of tidy Blackbirds out there. So, Cliff and Sue, your third and final bike, what do you think?
Well, it's a nice bike, handles great, but it didn't ring my bells.
No?
No.
Just a bit too kind of...
It was very insular. It was not telling me anything about what was going on. It was just sat there. And nice bike, very powerful, nice performance, but it didn't give me that thrill factor or that grin factor.
So brakes and everything all right, nice and comfy?
No, wasn't happy with the brakes.
Oh, really?
This dual braking system, I don't think I can get on with that.
Sue?
Very comfortable, perhaps too comfortable. I think I've got used to a sports bike now, and this was a bit low and a bit, you know...
This is it. You know, most people that want to have loads of miles under the belt go, oh, yes, perfect machine. You two want to be, like, feeling it all the way.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's so many things about this machine. It is well built. It's Honda. It just didn't do it for me.
Didn't?
No, I'm sorry.
Don't apologise to me. I know I liked you being so giddy about the ZX. I mean, you know.
And I still am, and I can't get over that.
Well, there you go. Well, let's take this one to the scoreboard then. So, Cliff and Sue, what do you give the Blackbird for style?
It's a nice looking bike, but a 7.
Performance?
Again, it seemed bland. 7.
Ooh, practicality?
It was practical enough for the both of us, but an 8.
Reliability?
Honda's renowned for good reliability, so 8 there.
And value for money?
On this particular model, 8.
Our third bike today is Kawasaki's ER5. The ER5 is another reliable Kawasaki. It's the same parallel twin engine as the GPZ, but retuned to make it more tractable low down. Perfect for those who are vertically challenged, as the 17-inch wheels make the twin low, and it's also pleasantly light at 174 kilos. While the ER5 chassis is basic with twin shocks and disc drum brakes, the parallel twin engine isn't. You get liquid cooling, 6 gears, 2 camshafts, vibration smoothing balancers and 4 valves per cylinder. The ER5 is a good learner bike and favoured courier hack, but it does lack weather protection. It's insurance group 8 and a very cheap way into the big bike world. So, Alistair, we don't normally do this, but we've thrown another Kawasaki in.
Yes, another quacker, yeah.
Yeah, an ER5. What do you think of it?
Yeah. Basic but nice, yeah, it looks nice. See, I spot the colour theme, all red bikes, that's okay.
This is it.
I say it's nice, yeah. I like it, I like the look of it.
I mean, they've actually got, they're a basic bike, aren't they? But they have got the nice naked feel to them, these. They're quite
Everything
nice
you're looking for on a bike, nice and basic. I would probably get a bikini fairing if I was taking this, again for the weather. But overall, looks nice, it's been obviously cared for, so I'm really looking forward to riding this one as well.
I do like the dials actually on this one as well.
Dials are nice and clear. I can see it's an import just by the dials, but that's not a problem, not an issue. And everything looks fine.
They look good solid bikes, don't they?
They do, absolutely.
Shall we see what it's like on the tarmac?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Get it on the tarmac and see how we go.
Marvellous, let's do it. This ER5 is a 2000 model, priced at £2,000. Compared with the GPZ, the ER5 is basic. Its soft state of tune means it's as easy to ride as it is to fall off a log. ER5s are favoured by riding schools, so beware when buying of scratched engine bars. The finish isn't as durable as it could be, so do check this when buying. Watch out for engine noise, oil leaks and smoke. There are tons of ER5s out there, so if you look hard enough, you'll find a minter. Plenty of bikes are more exciting, but the ER has all the performance you really need at a pretty reasonable price. So then, Alistair, the ER5.
The ER5.
What do you think?
Well, we said earlier it looked like a basic bike, and unfortunately it rides like one.
I thought you might say that.
There's not a great deal of focus in it. I mean, it's a very comfortable ride, but it's a bit soft for me, a bit woolly in the steering, and the brakes, although they're all right, there's not much feel to them.
Bit spongy.
Bit spongy.
Which doesn't inspire confidence.
Doesn't inspire confidence,
no.
especially with a soft rear end.
Yeah, and if you're doing 70 miles a day on it, you don't want a soft rear end.
I would be very tired, yes, and my rear end would be very painful, yes.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I think these basically, they're a nice bike, they're well put together.
Absolutely well, yep, absolutely.
I think they are geared towards a new rider, aren't they?
That's right.
You know, isn't going to go fast, just needs to get used to the roads. You can pick them up so cheaply, these.
Right.
I mean,
cheap, good, reliable bike. But for me, with the coming from the 636, it's too far a leap.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. there's no excitement to it. So.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's very well kept, this one, actually.
Yes, it's a very nice looking bike.
Yeah.
Everything's in its place. It's cool. Yeah. But
is visibility all right on this one?
Everything's fine. The mirrors are good. You can see behind you, which is always a good thing.
Yes.
Nice soft seat. It's a nice bike, but as I say, just lacks focus.
You are a Kawasaki man, aren't you?
I love quackers, yeah, I do love quackers.
I can tell. Absolutely. Right, well, we need to go to the scoreboards.
We do indeed.
So, Alistair, style.
6. Nice looking bike, but bland.
And performance?
6. Performance is okay, not too great, but it's all right.
And practicality?
7. It's a very practical bike, and for a beginner, it'd be an excellent bike.
And reliability?
7. Again, it's a quacker, so I think I'm confident in the reliability.
You're such a Kawasaki man. Value for money?
7. I think considering what you're getting, it's good value for money.
First up, it's Suzuki's GSXR 600. Introduced in 1996, the GSXR 600 became the 600 to own for all wannabe racers. This 2001 bike is the first of the new shape and features the now familiar Suzuki brand styling. This new model was very closely related to its bigger brother, the GSXR 750, and both featured a whole host of design cues taken from the GP race bikes. The first time you ride this, you'll find yourself getting off afterwards to check it actually has 600 on the fairing and not 750. This bike featured more mid-range than most 750s of the time and also looked a whole lot better too. So Shelley, bike number 1 is the beautiful Suzuki GSXR 600. What do you think to the looks of this?
It looks very heavy. Pretty but heavy.
Well, yeah. So does that frighten you?
Well, I've never considered it before. It's always put me off.
Right, because you're coming from your 125, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what bikes have you been looking at or thinking about?
Well, it's mainly the R6 that take my eye.
Right.
Because it's looks quite dainty and quite light.
It does, it's quite sleek, isn't it?
Is,
yeah, it's quite sleek. But these are fantastic.
They are gorgeous looking.
Great sports bike. Now, what are you going to use your bike for?
Just mainly fun, you know, Sundays.
Yeah? Yeah, until you get used to it, and then it's like every day.
That's it.
Will you take it on the track?
I'd like to eventually.
Yeah.
When I've had a bit more practice.
When your confidence builds and stuff. Brilliant. Well, you know, there's only one way to build your confidence, and that's to get on them. So get your helmet on and let us know what you think.
Okay.
Michelle is testing a 2001 model GSXR 600 on a Y plate priced at $4,499. The chassis on the GSXR 600 is virtually identical to that of the 750, so you know the handling is going to be spot on. Performance too is good, with the new fuel injection providing plentiful, smooth, progressive power, making this bike an ideal candidate for track days. Looks-wise, this bike is now much more modern in appearance and has lost that bulbous styling of the previous model. Pillion provision is not particularly good, so this bike is more suited to one-up riding with your mates than taking your partner out for a Sunday stroll. So Shelley, are you a Suzuki lady? Tell me what you think.
It was brilliant.
Was it?
Loved it, yeah. Yeah.
Tell me why. What was the handling like?
It was just so easy, really smooth, but the acceleration was there. It was just really easy to corner, which is the one thing, you know, I'm worried about.
Well, you were worried about the weight, weren't you? I mean, how was that?
It was really light to what I expected.
Wonderful.
Yeah, really brilliant.
Because they're quite, I mean, really, these in the 600 category, I think, I'd probably have lots of people say different, but I think these are quite, they can be a handful. You know, they're all there, really.
Yeah,
they're nice, nippy.
Felt really controllable, though. Even though the power was there, it didn't scare me in the corners, which is the main thing, really.
It's a big leap, 600 from 125. I mean, that's a serious lot of power. So, brakes and things like that, all to your liking?
The brakes were quite soft, but they still worked really well, so I didn't have any trouble on that. It's really nice bike. Yeah. I can't fault it.
It's an extra... I love it. It's quite an extreme position on these, though, because they are an out-and-out sports bike.
Yeah, it is what I'm used to, though, because I've tend to, you know.
Of course, yeah. And the seat, that's a nice comfy seat, isn't it? Yeah? And you take the other half on the back?
I don't think he'd have the nerve.
Well, not yet, anyway, until you start whooping past him. Yeah. So, I mean, you like the bike?
Yeah, I think it's lovely.
You can't fault it?
Not a bit, no. It is quite tall, but then again, I can cope with that because it's not too heavy. So, it's great.
So we like it then?
We do.
That's really good. Well, at this point, I'd like to take you to the scoreboard and see what you give the Suzuki GSXR 600. So, Shelley, what do you give the GSXR for style?
I'd give it an 8. It's a lovely looking bike.
And performance?
8 again, surprisingly. I didn't think I would.
Practicality?
6 because sports bikes aren't practical after all.
Second that. Reliability?
I'd I'd say an 8. I haven't heard anything bad about them.
And value for money?
A 7. It's not a bad price at all.
So we're going to put you on the Honda, the CB 1300. Hop on. So, I mean, we're going to get your thoughts on the ride of it, but what do you think of the looks of it?
First impressions are this is so different from the bike that I've just got off. It's very traditional. The colour seems not very exciting.
Yeah.
But
bit retro, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, to be honest, this colour scheme, we've seen it before, obviously.
Yes.
So it's, you know, there's nothing new there, but it's a Honda.
Right.
So you've got the quality.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
So your dials are all in the right place.
Thank goodness,
yes. Absolutely. Now it looks the same height as a Tuono.
In actual fact, as I've just sat on it, it feels so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Straight away, I've sat straight into the seats. Possibly the ride's going to be even more comfortable.
Oh, we'll have to see. Fantastic. So we need you to go off and have a go.
Okay, thank
Marvellous.
you. Just getting onto the CB 1300, settling down, starting the engine, makes an instant impression on you. The power, the sound of the engine is absolutely stunning. Pulling off, you can pull off with confidence. It feels so comfortable and so eager to get going. Riding the CB 1300 around town was a fantastic experience. I was expecting it to be heavy, lumpy and slow around the corners and at junctions, but it was absolutely superb. The engine of the CB 1300 feels lively and responsive. It's ready to do what you want it to do. It's there to glide you around corners and open out onto the straight.
Well, I must say, you look very happy on this bike, Karen.
What a great bike to ride.
Why is it?
It's just absolutely fantastic. It's so well mannered. It's a really comfortable riding position, something I was slightly concerned about, but I've got straight into it straight away. Fantastic. The power delivery is superb, but so well behaved.
Well, this is the only 1300, obviously, the other two are 1000.
Right.
So do you feel, I mean, I know you've not been on the Kawasaki, but do you feel a big difference in power then from the Aprilia? The
delivery is totally different, I think probably because it's a four-cylinder configuration compared to the V-twin. But it's just so well behaved. Such good manners.
It's very civilised.
Very.
Okay, well, I mean, did it feel heavy?
It does feel heavy, but it feels heavy in, it's not too intimidating.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. I feel it's part of the bike and part of the experience of riding this bike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they put the SP2 wheels on it to help the handling be lighter and the general weight.
The handling is absolutely fine, yes.
Good.
Yes, I didn't have any problems.
Well, that's fantastic, Karen. Now all we need to do is go over to the scores and see what points you've given it.
Style-wise, 7 out of 10. This is not the sexiest looking bike in the showroom. Performance-wise, I'm going to go for 8 out of 10. This isn't the fastest bike I've ridden today, but it seems reliable and I have confidence in the engine. For the ride, I'm going to go for 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed riding this bike. Build, I'm going to go for 8 out of 10. This is a Honda. We have high expectations of their build quality. Practicality, 9 out of 10. This is a practical bike to ride. It is comfortable. It's going to carry my luggage and it's going to take me around Europe. Reliability, 9 out of 10. This is a Honda and I expect it to be very reliable. Price, let's go for 10 out of 10. Superb value.
Hello and welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. Today we're with Adam, who's already tested 2 Taurus for us in part 1. Now, I told him to meet me here at another dealership over half an hour ago. It's a 10-minute ride, and here he is. Where have you been? Scenic route?
Just a bit.
You like this, don't you?
I do.
Well, come on, because I've got another test for you to do.
Okay.
Nice little Yamaha over here for you.
Right.
This one, the Yamaha FJR 1300, hop on, is a little cheaper. In fact, quite a lot cheaper.
All right.
£1,500 cheaper. So what do you think of it aesthetically?
It's not as bulky at the front. Controls are nice to read.
Looks a bit more like a sports tour, doesn't it? It's very sporty. And we haven't got the panniers on this one, although they do come in the price.
Right.
So, I mean, it is quite a sporty looking bike, really. Yeah. So, how's it feeling? Comfy?
It is, yeah. Yeah, much lower. Yeah.
Right. You look like you're raring to go.
I'll have a go.
Go on then. Set off. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Right, Paul and Steve, what do you think of the FJR 1300? I personally think it's the prettiest of our bikes this week.
It's a
pretty bike. Yeah, it's a pretty bike. Let's find a pretty one. You've ridden out one of these quite a bit, though, haven't you?
I'm not keen.
Are you not?
No. The 1300 for me, I rode it. I spent all day riding on it. It was too heavy. Felt really heavy under braking. It's got a great engine. Well,
it's a fast bike.
It's fast.
It's a very fast bike.
I don't think it can work out what it is. I think he'll find it too sporty. He's used to much more of an all-rounder with his pan.
Yeah, he'll find it very lively getting off his pan, I think. Yeah,
he will.
Yeah,
he will.
Yeah.
I think a bit too much, and I can't see the point of a bike like that when you could have something like a Fazer 1000, which is again lighter, sporty. It's got the R1 brakes, the R1 engine. It's a halfway house, the FJR 13. It's not a sports tourer and it's not a sports bike. It's neither one nor the other.
Right. Well, let's see if he agrees, eh?
So it's been a while. I wonder what he's thinking to this one. You in for running me over? Sorry. Hop off then. Let me know what you think.
Very sporty.
Yeah?
Very, very sporty.
Really? A lot different to the others, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, tell me then, how did it handle?
Very good. Just a lot of engine road noise coming through the front there from the forks.
Well, you're used to it being all so enclosed.
Yeah, enclosed.
Yeah.
Much narrower.
Yeah. So then, Adam, controls on this one. Similar to the Tourer?
Basic, manageable, easy to get to. No problem.
Yeah, I like the dashboard on this actually.
It was really clear. You can see everything.
Very easy to see.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty nice bike. And in this one, you've actually got two bikes in one, because the minute you take the panniers off, as we've said,
you've got a sports bike.
You've got a sports bike.
Panniers on, you've got a tourer.
Absolutely. So then, now we're going to give each bike a scoreboard.
Okay.
So shall we nip inside and have a cup of tea and also do some points?
No problem.
Let's go. David, what do you think of the looks of this one?
It looks big, heavy and sluggish.
But it's the Tourer end of the range, isn't it, this one?
A bit more sit up and big.
Yeah.
So,
you can do plenty of miles on this. Lots of fairing to keep you protected. Panniers for your luggage.
Plenty of storage, not what you expect on a bike.
No.
Something I'd need to try to get used to.
Yeah. Am I talking you into it yet?
Slowly.
Well, get your helmet on and let me know what you think.
Will do.
Okay.
The performance on the Honda Deauville, I'm not really impressed with. There doesn't seem to be any. I keep wanting to drop it down a gear to accelerate more, and it just doesn't seem to want to go. The handling, for a heavy bike, the handling I didn't actually find too bad, because you don't really feel the weight of it once you're actually moving. The braking isn't too bad. The brakes are actually quite effective on it. But again, they're having to stop quite a heavy bike. And the comfort, it is actually quite a comfortable bike. I could quite imagine myself riding this bike up and down the motorway, the dual carriageway, and riding it for many miles. So on the comfort side, it is a very comfortable bike.
And last but not least, David, the very practical looking Honda Deauville. Should we go to the scoreboards?
For style, 6 out of 10 doesn't really do a lot for me. The performance, again 6 out of 10. Still not very responsive at all, a little bit sluggish. The ride, it was actually quite comfortable. I've given that 7 out of 10. Quite impressed with the comfort on it for a sit upright. Practicality, I've given 9 out of 10. Definitely the most practical bike of the three. The price, I've given this 8 out of 10. Again, I did actually think on this particular bike it was very good value for money.
Last but not least, it's the Suzuki Bandit 600. The Bandit is the joker in this week's pack, featuring an inline 4 as opposed to Kareem's request for a V-twin. Maybe its smoother power delivery will tempt him away from those throbby twins. This is the bike that revitalised the naked middleweight category. Suzuki spotted a gap in the market, raided their parts bins and popped out the Bandit. This bike was extremely well received and sold by the shipload, catching all the opposition unawares. Power is a credible 80 brake horsepower, giving reasonable performance, but the engine does need to be worked hard to get the most from it. Budget suspension once again rears its ugly head, meaning the Bandit isn't up there with the class leaders when it comes to handling.
So Kareem, bike number 3. You're probably looking at me a bit strangely really, because we've kept the naked theme, but we've dropped the V-twin theme for bike number 3.
Yep.
We know you're a fan of fours, so we thought we'd go along that line.
Yeah.
What do you think to the looks of the Bandit?
It looks nice. Average, but more than capable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steady looking, isn't it?
That's it.
Right. OK, well, we need to know what you think to the ride of it.
Of course.
So do you want to get your helmet on and let us know?
Love to.
Kareem is testing the 2001 Suzuki Bandit 600, priced at $3,495, making it the cheapest bike in this week's trio. Suzuki's Bandit is no longer the class leader, but it is still a capable little bike. Many of them were bought by first-time bikers, so do make sure to check for damage caused by accidents or even the novice trick of just simply dropping the bike. The suspension was never the best and may well have given up the ghost on a well-used example, so make sure to check and haggle the selling price accordingly.
So then Kareem, the Suzuki Bandit, what do we think?
Hey, it's quite good, but I don't know.
It doesn't do it for you, does it?
It's nothing wrong with the bike. It's very smooth, it's very quiet, but there's no soul.
No.
Something missing.
You want that aggression, don't you, behind the
yeah.
V-twin, the kind of, I don't know, engine braking and all the rest of it.
The sound, the passion, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, let's judge this bike then. Looks like a nice big comfy seat to me.
It is, comfort-wise, not a problem.
Yeah?
Quite good.
Yeah. Seating position, you know, the riding position?
Again, fairly upright, bars are nicely positioned. Height-wise, again, fine for me.
Yeah?
Not bad at all.
Right. I'm not getting any passion there at all. Okay, no worries. Well, we need to know what you give it on the scoreboard.
Of course.
Okay. So, Kareem, what do you give it for style?
Styling's okay. We'll go with a 6.
And performance?
Again, nothing special, but worth a 6.
Practicality?
Very good. Go with 8 for that.
Okay, and reliability?
Never heard any bad stories about them, so I'll have a 7.
Okay, and value for money?
Not good, I'm afraid. I'm going to have a 5.
Okay then.
Next up is the Honda XR-V 750 Africa Twin. The Africa Twin is as hot as the continent it's named after. It combines superb engineering and good balance in an overall package, which is hard to beat. Originally built to pay homage to the heroes of the Paris-Dakar and never as a serious attempt at an off-roader, the Twin is much better as a soft, comfortable back lanes bike or as a practical tourer with a twist. This bike is not, however, an off-roader unless you have huge biceps. Keep this bike where it works best, commuting, touring and even scratching.
Right, Pete, bike number 2 is the Honda Africa Twin. What do you think to the looks of this?
I love the looks of it. I like the looks of the Triumph, as you know.
Yep.
But this looks, how can I put it? Berlin by tea time. Capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could certainly bowl up at Dover, get on your ferry and be anywhere you fancied in no time, I imagine.
Absolutely. Another all-rounder, I mean, to be honest, the Triumph was, but I think this is as well. I think you could have some serious fun, but it's comfy for those miles, isn't it?
I think it probably will be, and it's got a V-twin engine. I know it's only the 750cc, so it's smaller than the Triumph, but I've always enjoyed the way big twins deliver their power. So
absolutely.
Again,
and it is a Honda, let's face it.
So build quality should never be an issue, should it?
Shouldn't really, and it should go well. Well, get your helmet on and let us know.
Okay, I will.
The Africa Twin Pete is riding is a 2001 model priced at £4,795. The handling capabilities will surprise many, including sports bike riders. Bend swinging couldn't be easier. The Africa Twin turns with the gentlest persuasion. Only the dual-purpose tyres prevent some serious cornering speeds. Compliance over even the roughest road is a feature of the long travel available from both fork and shock. Damped superbly, there is little hint of wallow or harshness. And the result is excellent comfort for the rider. This another hallmark of big trail bikes, and the Honda is no exception.
Well, Pete, can I just say, as you rode in on this, it looks fantastic. What a great looking bike. What do you think of it?
Fran, I love it. It was Really enjoyable to ride. It may only be 750cc, but the way the V-twin engine delivers that power, it's a little bit lumpy low down, smooths out, and it gives a good even spread of torque. It's a really nice package.
Yeah.
Riding position, I thought, feels like it'll be real all-day comfortable.
Yeah.
With the exception of the seat, which is a little bit narrow and square.
Especially in comparison to that Triumph, it does look narrow.
Exactly. However, a couple of £100 for a Corbin seat will sort that out once and for all, so it's not a problem.
Yeah. These look all right. These look a bit better.
The mirrors are absolutely perfect. I was able to set them up, both mirrors, in a way that I can see everything going on behind me. It was lovely. The only other criticism I could make is the front brake felt a little bit wooden.
Right.
As compared, most modern bikes, 2 fingers on the front brake and don't bother with the back at all, as you know.
Yeah.
But this, maybe it's been in production a few years, so it's perhaps not fair to compare it with ultimately modern bikes, but I found it was all 4 fingers on the front brake and a little bit of back as well. So, yeah, not suggesting the brakes are bad, they're just not as powerful as those on the Triumph.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't give me any problems at all. I was very, very impressed with this bike, friend.
Sounds very good. I like it, I must say. I've not actually ridden this one, but I like what I see, certainly. And you're giving it a very good write-up.
Yep.
So our next bike's going to have to be something pretty special to compete then, really, basically.
Isn't it just?
Isn't it just? Well, of course, we need to go to the scoreboards and see what you give the Honda Africa Twin. Now, Pete, what do you give it for style?
8. It looks rugged and built exactly to do what it's there for.
And performance?
7. Strong engine, good handling, slightly marred by braking, but nothing too bad.
And what about practicality?
9. That bike will do anything I intend to do on it perfectly well.
And reliability?
9. There's a Honda badge, enough said.
And value for money?
6. This one's a little overpriced and not quite to the spec I want, but a bit of negotiation should see that one sorted.
First up, it's Kawasaki's GPZ 500S. If you want a bike that can do it all well, then you should consider the GPZ. The slim, light Quack is a perfect beginner's bike, ideal for couriers and good for the vertically challenged, with a seat height of 760mm. The parallel twin engine runs forever and is lively enough to keep the riding experience entertaining. A top half fairing and belly pan cowling adds style and practical wind cheating to just over 120 miles an hour. It has sports bike's looks and handles itself well.
So now it's time to meet Alistair. Welcome, Alistair.
Thank you.
I see you found the GPZ then.
I have indeed.
So what do you think of it?
I think it's lovely. It's very clean.
It's an
sporty looking, yes. Yeah. Considering the age of it, it's very nice indeed.
Oh, we've got the nice fairing, because you do some miles, don't you?
I do indeed, and in inclement weather, so the fairing's nice, keep me protected, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a Kawasaki. You have a Kawasaki, don't you?
I have a Kawasaki, yes. I like Kawasaki's. I've got a Ninja 636, so this would fit in very well with what I have at the moment.
I do apologise for it not being green.
Don't apologise, don't apologise. I don't like green too much, I'm afraid, so I'm quite happy for it to be red.
My goodness, you are a first. A Kawasaki man that doesn't like the green meanies. Brilliant.
Fairly rare, I've got to say, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. But I stand out, that's it.
I'll say. Yes, right, so we need you to tell us what you think to the ride.
Indeed, looking forward to it. Can't wait to get this out on the road and see how it goes.
Well, get your kit on and tell us what you think.
OK, thank you, I will.
This Kawasaki is a 1997 model priced at £2,200. Genuine sports bike style doesn't come much cheaper than this. When buying second-hand, avoid high mileage versions as they may have been used and abused by couriers. Aim for a well looked after GPZ that has been loved and cherished, as this model of machine tends to be. Beware alternator woes on early ones. Engines run very quietly unless there's a problem and are smoke-free unless they've been over-revved. It's insurance group 9, cheap to run and a bargain when picked up second-hand. As a budget all-rounder, the ageing parallel twin still takes a bitter beating. Commute, scratch or learn the biking ropes, the GPZ is definitely worth a pop.
So Alistair's returned with the GPZ, what did you think?
Well, it rides as well as it looks, lovely. Very nice, yeah, very responsive. Considering it's a 500, it goes very well, so very pleased with it, very nice indeed.
Yeah, I mean, you're used to obviously your 636.
Yes.
This must feel tiny to you.
It feels tiny, and obviously the brakes aren't as progressive, but it's still fun. It's you know, I know I'm looking for a commuter, but I also want some fun in it, and this would give me both. I'm very impressed with it.
And did you find this useful?
Yes, yes, definitely kept the weather off, so very comfortable, yep.
Very good.
Very nice.
Right, so, well, I mean, you know, are the dials and everything okay?
Very clear. I mean, typical Kawasaki, so nice and clear. Fairly old-fashioned, but you know, it's not a new bike, so I'm quite happy with that. Everything's in nice touching distance. Everything's to hand. No, very nice. Overall, very nice bike.
And I must say, as you came in, it is such a beautifully clean-looking bike.
It's gorgeous.
And that's the thing with these things. With 500s, they're obviously, you know, couriers or loved and cherished.
Yes.
And this has obviously
This
been...
is a cherished bike. Yes,
you look at the engine and it's just amazing.
It's lovely. It's a cherry.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
So why are you going for a 500?
Well, as I say, I'm commuting, so I don't really need anything with too much power.
Yeah.
But I need some power, obviously, to enjoy myself with. So I felt it's a nice in-between. A 500 is nicely. It suits me. It's not too fast, not too slow.
Price-wise and insurance as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a winner. So it's a win-win, really, for this.
Right, fantastic. Well, before we actually decide what bike you're going to go for, we need to give each one a scoreboard.
Right.
Okay. So I need to know what you think to the Kawasaki GPZ. So, Alistair, what do you give it for style?
8. It looks like a real bike and I like it.
And performance?
7. For a 500 it performs very well.
And practicality?
8. It's a very practical bike.
And reliability?
7. Kawasaki, so it will be reliable.
And value for money?
6. Slightly pricey, but it's a very nice bike.
Next up, it's the Yamaha FZS 600 Fazer. Powerful detuned Thundercat engine, comfortable upright riding position and 20-litre fuel tank make this a great bike for any journey, a true all-rounder. When this model first arrived in January 1998, it was as revolutionary then as the 1000cc Fazer is now. With close to 100 brake horsepower on tap and the brakes from an R1, it was no ordinary street bike. Delivering exhilarating performance, rider and passenger comfort, it's not surprising that the versatile Fazer has become one of the leading middleweight all-rounders in the European market. Right, Mark, bike number 2. I think you might like this one a little bit more.
It's looking a bit better right from the off-ramp.
What do you think of the looks of these?
I quite like the looks of this. It's got a bit more of an aggressive look. It's got a few of the aftermarket things like the belly pan and the huggy on the back. So yes.
It's also got a few little pink bits.
The pink bits were the thing I'm not too sure about.
Right.
It's a bit tarty.
Yes, I dare say it is a little bit. But they are a great bike. I mean, it's a 600 engine, obviously, and it is a good bike, and it's also got a little bit of fairing.
Yep.
So it should protect you against the elements on your longer rides.
Should get a bit of protection from it, yeah.
Does it looks-wise, does it entice you into getting on it?
Looks-wise, yeah. I think it's a good start from it with the way it looks. You know, you don't mind being stood next to this one.
You don't? No. Well, we'd like you to get on it.
Right, I shall do that.
Super. Mark is riding the 1998 model priced at £2,999. This model was replaced by the FZ6 in June 2003. For the money, the Fazer is an amazing bit of kit. It has plenty of performance that's easy to get the best from. The grunty and revvy 4-cylinder motor is more than merely usable. This is a great wheelie bike, but it's also up to chasing sports bikes along all but the fastest roads. So, Mark, the Fazer.
Much more enjoyable, Fran.
Oh, good. I like to hear it. Tell me about it then.
It definitely had a bit more poke about it.
Yeah?
I did enjoy the performance of the bike.
Uh-huh.
The only thing I will say is I don't know whether it needs new tyres or not. It didn't feel too great.
A little bit square, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. It handled fantastic. I love the position of it as well. It was quite comfortable.
Plenty of power there as well, isn't there, with these?
It's got plenty of pickup.
Yeah.
That's what I liked. I think the only thing I probably would do is change the handlebars.
Right.
I weren't too keen on the bars.
Right.
Where everything was fine, the clocks were great, there was protection from this, and the mirrors weren't too bad either.
I mean, the engine, when you actually look at this bike, it looks a very tiny bike.
It looks very nice indeed.
Yeah.
It's obviously been well looked after.
Yeah. I mean, it's an R-Edge, and to me, I just think it looks like a really good example, apart from the little pink bits.
Yeah, he obviously looked after it, or she looked after it, but there's that tart element to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're easily replaced, though.
They are, yeah.
If you do like the bike, they're easily replaced.
They are. I did like the additional belly pan. I mean, I just think that finishes its styling off quite nice.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit taller than the CB500 as well, which is probably an advantage for you.
The position was fantastic. It really was comfortable. It was very nice.
Brilliant.
I could do miles on it.
I'm liking what you're saying. It's very positive, very good.
The other thing I liked about it was you could sit and tootle along, you can commute on it, but if you pull the throttle back as well, you can really go with it as well.
Stop that. We've been riding 6 months. Stop it. We want you to keep your licence. Well, we'll go to the scoreboards then and see what you give it.
OK.
So, Mark, what do you give the Fazer for style?
For style, Fran, it turns a few heads, so we'll give it 7.
And performance?
Performance, you grow horns, so it's got to get a 7 again.
Practicality?
Practicality, I'll give it a 7 because it does everything I want and more.
And reliability?
Well, it's got that Thundercat engine, so any problems will have been ironed out. We'll give it an 8.
And finally, value for money?
Value, it's an excellent bike, in excellent condition, so we'll give it 7.
Thank you, Mark. Next up, it's the Yamaha R6. This bike was Yamaha's response to the Suzuki GSX R600, and for that reason they made sure it was the best in its class. Looking at the R6, you can just see the styling cues taken from their flagship sports bike, the R1, but the similarities don't end there. Riding the R6 shows how much more focused it was than its rivals, and until recently it was the 600 that played hardest. Ideally suited to track day and A-road thrashing, this bike is not really for the timid and just demands to be ridden hard to get the best from it. Right, Shelley, bike number 2. You did mention you liked these.
I did, yeah.
Yeah?
I love it.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're very, very pretty bikes. Nice and sleek for ladies.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. So this is your dream bike then, in theory?
In theory, yeah.
Yeah? Mm.
We'll see.
So what is it about these you like so much?
Just the looks of them. They just look so dainty.
Yeah. And have you read all the reports on them and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. They just seem to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Now your partner's got an R1, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
So he would fully recommend the R6 to you?
Oh, definitely. Nothing else.
Right, well we need to know what you think to it, so get your helmet on and let us know.
Okay.
The R6 Michelle is riding is a 2002 model priced at $5,299. The R6 took handling and performance to a whole new level, and it's taken the competition 6 years to catch up and introduce better bikes. Many people buy the R6 and then complain that it's not comfortable and it does not provide ample accommodation for a pillion, but let's face it, that's not really why you should buy a bike like this. The R6 is a very focused bike and is not really suited to commuting or two-up riding. Make sure the R6 you're looking at has not been raced by checking for lock wiring holes and bodywork that looks too good for the bike's age. Right, Shelley, was it your dream bike?
No.
You're joking, tell me.
Just too skitty in low gears.
Really?
To handle at really slow speed, yeah.
Gosh,
yeah.
Just
weight worried me.
Really?
Yeah. The weight's fine, it handles fine,
yeah.
brakes are fine, but it's just not for me.
The power is just
it's just the first gear. It's all or nothing.
Really?
No in between.
Front wheel up a little bit?
No,
Could be.
not quite. On its side more like. But no.
Really? How funny, because you were in love with this bike.
Yeah, it's one of these I passed my test for.
Good grief.
There you go.
So I mean, is it comfortable? Because that seat is decidedly bigger than the GSX.
It is. It's very comfortable. Position's fine, but it just doesn't feel right. I don't feel as though. I think it's taking me. I'm not riding it.
Yes, so. You're not in control of it. Do you think that might, with a bit more experience on it, do you think it might?
Maybe it would, but I'd like to feel comfortable now.
That's it. When you've been on the Suzuki and you felt so comfortable the first go on it.
That's it.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, I prefer to feel at least a little bit safe.
Yeah, we always prefer to feel a little bit safe. So the positioning is fine and everything, and the weight's fine. Brakes, because the brakes were a bit soft, you said on the other.
Yeah, no, they're fine. They were great. It just didn't feel right.
Well, that's right though, because that's the thing. I think it's right. You know, some people would probably think, no, I'll have another go on it. I'll have another go, see if you can live with it. Yeah. But you know instantly that you prefer.
That's it. I'd be worried about taking the bike out.
Yeah, you wouldn't wake up on Sunday morning excited.
That's it. I'd be dreading the first few miles until I got back into it. So.
Right. You and the rest of us, to be honest, if you felt like I'm really joking. Right, well, on that note, we'll go to the scoreboards.
Okay.
Right, Shelley, what would you give the R6 for style?
I'd still give it a 9.
You like that one, don't you? Performance?
I'll give it a 6 because it just wasn't for me.
What about practicality?
6 again.
And reliability?
As far as an 018, the other half had no problem with his R1.
And value for money?
I'd say a 6 for that one.
Now, as we've said, you're a bit of a Honda man.
Oh,
so,
yes.
next up, hop on then. Next up is the ST1300. So quite a bit bigger than yours then.
Yeah, much lower.
Is it?
Yeah, I've got both feet on the floor quite comfortably. Yeah?
Really? I mean, that's good in itself, isn't it?
Is.
Everybody feels
Yeah.
more confident with
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, I mean, looks-wise.
Very nice. It looks muscled to me. Looks like it's got muscles.
Muscles? Well, I like muscles, so it's down to you whether you do. Right then, so we need to know what you think to this one.
No problem.
Are you going to let us know?
I will do, certainly.
On your way then.
Thank you.
Right guys, so he's a Honda man. He's got an ST1100. What's he going to think to the 1300 engine?
This is going to be interesting, this, because, well, I had the great pleasure, and it was a pleasure, of riding the 1300 Pan all the way around the south of France. Fantastic, but he'll find it more sporty, he'll find it easier to handle than his own bike, and of course there's more power as well.
It was the daddy for ages, the 1100, wasn't it?
Well, it was, wasn't it? And it
but
still
the kind
is.
Of, the other manufacturers like Yamaha with the FJR 1300, which obviously we've seen, and BMW, they all up the game a bit. And all of those sort of sports touring bikes, they've all become a little bit sportier, like you said.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he'll just think it's like his old bike, but better.
I
think it'll really appeal to him.
I think it will. I think that's be interesting to see.
Well, we don't all get to France to test these bikes, do we, Paul? Some of us have to stay in sunny England. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what Adam thinks to it. So, Adam, you look a bit happier, actually.
Oh, yes.
What do you think of this?
Very nice. Much more power.
Really?
Much more power.
Than yours?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's much lower, so it tends to hug the road a bit more.
Yeah.
Which was nice and comfortable feeling.
Yeah, you can imagine doing lots of miles on it.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay, now you mentioned about the kick on the BMW. Anything like that on this?
Nothing at all. From idling to moving off to actually opening that throttle, it just want to go.
Right, okay. So, I mean, anything bad about this bike?
The pannier is a bit of a letdown. They're not as big inside as the older ones.
Yeah, and I mean, you could have your back box though, couldn't you? But
yeah, but I think it ruins the styling of the line.
Oh, you're getting all posy on me now as well. But I know what you mean. They are a little bit smaller, and the back box can look a bit ugly at times. So, well, that's it for part one. But in part two, we're going to be setting you off on your third and final bike. But that's at another dealership. So, do you want to meet us over there?
No problem.
Do you want to take this bike?
No problem.
I thought you might say that. See you over there. Welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. This week, Karen from Stafford, who currently owns a Ducati Monster, is looking for something a bit faster and a bit more aggressive. She's already been out on the Aprilia Tuono and the Honda CB1300 and is about to go on her third and final test on the Kawasaki Z1000. Karen,
hi.
What do you think to this?
It looks absolutely great. Really aggressive styling, really quite sexy as well. I would have to say, looks-wise, of the three, this is my favourite.
It's my personal favourite, this one. But I like a black bike as well, so I just think they look mean. Well, we need to know what you think to the ride.
OK. The ride standard is just fine. It was kind of almost forgettable, really. The brakes are sharp, the engine is responsive. I found the gearbox to be slightly clunky. You've got to be very positive when you're changing gear here. On the straight, the Z1000 is absolutely superb. Put your head down, crank it on, and just get going. I think after a while I'll start to feel a little bit tired across the shoulders here. My weight is over the tank and this could become uncomfortable over time.
So Karen, third and final test, last but by no means least, the Kawasaki. What do you think?
Very nice, very nice. The bike to ride is really quite, like its styling, it's quite aggressive. Yeah, you've got to have your wits about you. You've got to be positive with the gear change. The gearbox I found was slightly notchy.
Hit neutral between first and second especially.
I did.
I know where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice retro style though, isn't it?
It's a lovely style. The colour combinations, the addition of colour, the upside down forks, the seating position is absolutely super.
Well, they're actually all a mishmash of the ZX6R and the ZX9R.
Indeed, yes.
So it's working well, obviously.
Yes,
yeah.
We've got lots of things here that work well together already established.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, it's a lot lower than the other two.
I did notice that, yes. Yeah. My seating position at traffic lights and junctions, I feel much more confident than the other two bikes.
Yeah.
It's really nice to sit on. You feel nice and safe.
Fantastic. Well, it's available in a few different colours. It's available in orange, green and black.
Oh.
So you've got a fair bit to go at.
Absolutely, some choice.
Absolutely. So we need to know your points for this one.
Right, okay.
Should we go to the scoreboard?
Let's.
Style-wise, 9 out of 10. What a beautiful bike. The retro exhaust pipes really set the style off here. Performance, I'm going to go for an 8 there. This is a good bike, but it's not very exciting. Ride, I'm going to go for 7 out of 10. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable after a while. My shoulders were starting to ache. Build quality, going to go for 8 on this one, 8 out of 10. Practicality, for my purposes, which is touring, I don't think this bike is going to be very practical at all. 7 out of 10. Reliability, 9 out of 10. Price-wise, 8 out of 10. This is good value for money.
Earlier on in the show, we were talking to Eric, who was showing us his fine collection of vintage scooters. Now he's let 4 out of his sight for me to have a play on. So we start with a Vespa GL. This is a 1957 model, very popular in the 50s, 60s and 70s, and it's a classic design which is still being used to this day. The Vespa GL is your run-of-the-mill scooter. The 125 engine is self-sufficient. There's no battery but a magneto, which acts as an alternator. It's just kick start and go. This is the widest scooter you'll come across, and with the engine set to one side, it can make handling a bit tricky at first. You also have to keep a watch out for the gears, as it's quite easy to miss a gear during changes. Once you've got that sorted, you can sit back and cruise all you like. But you have to remember though that this is not a cheap bike. Back in the 1950s, you would have paid around £100. It's worth £3 now. Second in line is the Vespa SS90, first introduced in the early 60s. Now, I've got to be a bit careful with this because it's a bit rare, and I'm also told it's a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing. They actually call this the SS90 Racer, thanks to its tuned engine which will power this thing to an amazing 90 miles per hour. The sports riding position is enhanced due to a dummy tank, and the lightweight construction and slim styling helps for great handling, and of course acceleration and speed. The SS90 would have cost you £200 back in the 60s and will now fetch £3,500. You have to remember though, for its size, this thing is fast. And third in line, and we've changed manufacturers, this is the Lambretta SX200, first introduced in the 60s and commonly known in the scooter world as the sex appeal. This is a follow-up to the TV200. The SX has a more balanced engine and also features dual shock absorbers and double engine mountings to reduce vibration. It was introduced in 1966 and instantly inherited its nickname of sex appeal, which was due to its slim, smooth, classic lines, and of course the rider. Costing £150 or thereabouts back in the 60s, this again, like the others, would have been a shrewd buy, as it's now worth between £3,000 to £4,000. And last but by no means least, the Lambretta GP200. Now this was manufactured in the early 70s and this was the last of the Lambretta designs. Now this one is a bit special because this is the 10th one ever made. With the largest scooter engine out at the time, the GP200 needed bigger brakes. Lambretta therefore introduced a disc brake as well as dual shock absorbers and a beefed up front suspension. Shorter in height than the average Lambretta, the GP benefits from a more streamlined look and feel, and with the throaty sound from the 200cc engine, it lives up to its Grand Prix name. In the mid-70s, this would have cost you £250, but this would certainly have been a wise investment, as today's market would fetch up to £4,000.
So there we have it, 4 fine examples of vintage scooters. Now there's just one problem. I can't ride them all at once. So I've always wanted to be in a gang. Guys, let's do a bit of hell raising.
Now I know it's not quite quadrophenia, but I think my gang looks quite cool. Bring back the 70s, that's what I say.